the way I've thought about it, and maybe it's because Westminster teaches you have to have a principle before you can have a practical step. I've tried to think about where does Westminster and support for Westminster sort of fit in my overall framework, and I've thought about 1 Timothy 5, where I'm the beneficiary of a passage like that, where Paul says the elders who does his work well is worthy of double honor, particularly the one who's given over to preaching and teaching. And the church, and then he goes on to say, the worker is worthy of his wages. And our church takes that very seriously, and that's how I'm actually able, to pay my bills and to provide for my family. Analogously, I think the principle is similar in that the seminary is a church-serving institution, and so therefore those who labor here and who are seeking, to be faithful to the gospel and form ministers and other leaders for the sake of the church are worthy of their wages. And so we've got a responsibility to think about what does it mean to provide for them, what does it mean to sacrifice. I don't think there's one single answer to that, but that's been a helpful paradigm for me. And then I'd have to, kind of reach back to the whole familial concept that if I'm, not only do I believe that, in terms of principles, but with that fatherly dimension, I think those two things really come together in a way that makes it a real joy. I want to proactively think about how to serve, how to be helpful to the school, and particularly financially. I think, sometimes it's hard to talk about finances, but they're real. The Scripture talks about them, and we certainly talk about them in our churches. And so I just want to encourage people to think well about being honest and being able to say, if I believe the school has been a real resource to me, and even Princeton reaching back and the original faculty here, that if we want to steward that legacy, it requires daily bread, and so to pray for that daily bread and to think about how to encourage people to give sacrificially and generously and thoughtfully.